stepmom is caught in the act of molesting her stepson while they both were smoking weed while watching the movie Terrifier 2. The boy's father walked in on the abuse, threatened the child, and the woman claimed it was the boy who was assaulting her. This is the Female Pred Complex series on the Sam Clinton Network. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on July 26 in Ocala, Florida. 33-year-old registered nurse Alexis Von Yates is bored, horny, and alone with her 15-year-old stepson. The details of what transpired over the next few hours, days, weeks, and months are shocking, filled with lies, deceit, manipulation, and cover-up by the very people charged with protecting a child, their family.
And she's like, oh, well, that kid's ruining my fucking life. That's what she said.
It's the story of the repeated abuse of a child that exposes the reality facing many boys and victims as they are abused not just by a predator, but by their family, their friends, and the community at large, leaving a devastating wake of anxiety, anguish, threats, and ultimate tragedy. This is but one story of many in what has become an epidemic of women abusing children and never facing any consequences. Join us on this journey into deceit and darkness, and together let's expose the cruel forces at work that glorify, celebrate, and ultimately perpetuate this type of abuse. Welcome to SCN. So thanks for watching our very first episode here on SCN, where we cover the female pred complex. We've termed the female pred complex basically the concept of why society celebrates and glorifies and perpetuates this type of abuse. And the whole purpose of the content that we put forward here is exposing the double standard and hypocrisy that while society in one hand wants to protect children and has such a visceral hatred toward predators, male predators, actually celebrate, glorify, and creepily promote the abuse of children when it comes to women. We're going to be looking at the initial report that was placed to Crime Stoppers. An anonymous tip was received by the Marion County Sheriff's Office that a woman had been molesting her stepson. Part of that report was the fact that the dad of the victim had witnessed it all and didn't report it. This initial body cam will be the investigators' attempt to try to get a hold of the father to verify the report that came in. Hey, sir, we got a report that you witnessed your son being molested.
Hi, is this Mr. Yates?
No, he's right here. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Yates, Department of Children and Families.
Okay.
We received a report regarding...
Okay.
Are you aware of a report that was made?
No, I was not.
Okay. We need to speak to you about this, and we need...
And he went home last Saturday.
So he was not with you on the 26th?
On the 26th, yeah, I mean, he was down visiting us.
Okay.
And went home, I think, on the 29th.
Okay. Are you able to provide me with with mom's information where we can do a well check child on?
Yes, I can. Let me see.
If you could, well, I'm calling from the sheriff's department phone number, so this is not my phone. So, okay. So I already sent my information to your, I guess, your wife. Okay. So what is that address? We can do a well check child or well check.
His address.
Yeah.
I am not sure of that off the top of my head. I can give you her phone number.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And what is this in regards to?
Well, we received a report that something happened when I was at your house between on the 26th between your wife.
Okay.
And that you allegedly walked in on them.
No, that's not true.
Okay. So our report came in, sexual battery, that you walked in with them in the middle of sexual acts.
No, that is 100% false.
Okay.
So, I know he's a very messed up kid. I really haven't been a part of his life for very long, but if there's anything like this, I probably should, I don't know.
Yeah. So right now, all that's the only information we have. You know, we don't have anything coming directly from him per se. But it did mention that you walked in on them.
No. That's definitely true.
Okay.
I don't know. Is there anyone I can know who said that, or?
It's anonymous.
Yeah, it's anonymous, so we don't even know.
The call came in through a line called Crime Stoppers, which is like for anonymous tips.
Okay.
We honestly assumed you made the report, or something along those lines, but we don't have any information other than like she was saying that that's what the report said.
Okay.
Which is why we're actually at your house right now. You used to live at the.
Yes, sir.
Me and the CPI are currently sitting in your driveway right now. Actually, we were coming to come talk to you and talk to. But you don't know anything about anything like this.
No, and anything I probably wouldn't just say. I know that there are some accusations made. I don't think they're true or not, but
You said there were accusations made?
I believe so.
Who made the accusations?
I believe that.
Made the accusations? Okay.
When did he make those accusations? Prior to this?
No.
Okay,
That's all.
so this is all brand new. So there's nothing prior that he mentioned.
No.
Okay. Okay. But you're thinking it might have come from.
I really honestly have no idea who would have anonymously done something like that. You know, it's a really bizarre, embarrassing scenario that
Yeah.
I don't even entertain.
What accusations did you make?
I'm not sure. I would probably get a lawyer before I said anything else.
Well, you're not under investigation right now. I mean, or no one's really under investigation. It's just a matter of this report came in, and at this point, it's an ominous report. It's going to have to get seen regardless to speak to him, and then once that's done, it's a matter of either determining whether the claims are founded or unfounded. And from what you're saying, it's more than likely unfounded.
I believe so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to tell me, you don't want to tell me, but it go a long ways as far as helping us figure out if we can write down what told you, and then we can go to and it says, oh, I didn't make that report, or gives us verbatim what you're telling me he told you, we can kind of rule it out and kind of say, okay, we probably made this report, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, kind of freaking, my heart's racing a little bit, but I would think that the implications that could come of this, I don't believe that anything happened.
Okay.
That's.
But the key factor is it mentioned that you walked in on them when they were on the couch.
No, I did not see any type of physical action whatsoever.
Okay.
So, Like I said, he's got a very messed up kid. He's been in mental institutions multiple times. He's has a big history of making up some pretty crazy stuff. So,
Okay.
his mom's young on medication. I'm not even on a birth certificate or anything. It was just a kid I was trying to help out from a past relationship one time.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's just kind of a really messed up kid. Is what I think is going on.
While he was with you, were there any behaviors that were concerning or stood out, negatively when he was here?
Just kind of like lying, manipulative behavior, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of.
Was there any kind of discipline while he was here?
No, I didn't discipline him at all. I mean, I just tried to guide him.
Okay.
As best I could help him, yeah.
So it's not like he got in trouble here and then went home and said he got in trouble, that type of thing, to warrant anything against you.
No.
Okay.
Anything.
Okay.
Like that.
Is there a reason he would have something against your, like I said, stepmom or your wife?
No, not that I know.
What does their normal relationship look like?
Just kind of, I guess, random. It's like I said, it's not your typical situation. But I want to say they have a very close relationship.
Okay.
They had a close relationship, you said? Or they don't? Don't have a close relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. But he went back to Marion.
Yes.
How long was he with you?
He was down for about a month.
Okay.
And not with us the whole time. He'd stay at my mom's and my dad's.
Okay.
And things like that. So.
Alrighty. I left you a voicemail on your phone. And this is the deputy that's out with me at the house.
We're talking on my phone.
Yeah, and I sent my business card to your wife Alexis. So you have that information. I also left one in the door. So if you need to contact me, for any further information, feel free. Okay. All right, but I'll contact Mom and see if we can get seen. Law enforcement to go to the house and have him seen as well. But try not to contact Mom and let her know everything that's going on. Just in case wants to recant if something happened. Just let her know that there is an open report and possibly need to do a well check on him. Okay, but don't give her too much information.
No, I'm not gonna contact her.
Alrighty. Alright.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Alright, but we'll be in touch.
Okay, yes, bye.
Alrighty, bye.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was talking to my supervisor and I was like, you know what? Adults don't normally call in Crime Stoppers.
No, they would call
Teenagers
straight in.
do that don't know how to call in.
Yeah.
Shit,
Or they don't want it. They don't want to be the one that's seen as the reporter.
Yeah.
Because if they go on the Florida Abuse Hotline website, they're
You can
putting
still
their
do
name
it
in there.
anonymous.
Can you?
Still do it anonymous. Yep. Web report, anonymous, everything.
And again, like you
but
said,
kids
they don't know
normally
about that.
that.
Yeah, they probably look up how to report anonymously.
Yep.
And Crime Stoppers what pulls up, so they call Crime Stoppers.
So adults usually call you guys direct, or they call
It sounds like
Yeah.
a case of
yeah.
he's probably pissed off.
Yeah, that's why I asked, did he get in trouble here,
Yeah.
for him to warrant going back and... Ugh.
Well,
Well, we'll send a well check out.
those are
Get a
my
picture of that.
jots, yeah. To some degree.
Got it. Alrighty. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. I will do a follow-up on my end, and
Yep.
I guess you're going to contact DCF there and have them go out?
Yep. Yep. Or at least the law enforcement there, you know. I mean, if he makes no disclosures, then, you know, no disclosures.
Right.
You know. So we'll just do well check first and, you know, let them know why. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And so this father had the chance to be a hero. This father had the chance to be a great dad, and he had a chance for a second time to make it right, to protect his kid and tell the truth. Not only did he fail once again, but he threw his kid under the bus. He said that his kid has had a lot of mental health problems, that he's been difficult to raise. He threw the child victim totally under the bus, as any real possible grooming predator would do. Oh, that kid's always a liar. He even says that. He's lied. Says the child victim was a liar. This father has witnessed his child being molested right in front of him, and he has the audacity to tell investigators a few days later when they say, did this happen? Did you witness it? No, I didn't witness it. Lie. My son's a liar and has a history of lying, which was to diminish him. And he witnessed what had happened. What his kid had reported was the truth. And then he says the entire story is 100% false, that his wife had been abusing and sexually abusing his son. He said the story was 100% false. But you got one thing, Daddy, you witnessed it all. And you had two choices to make. Be the pathetic loser coward that you were to start with, as we've seen with many dads that find out their sons are being molested. Oh, we've seen it before. We've seen Big Dave before. Be total losers that don't stand on principle, that don't stand on morals, that don't stand up for their sons, that don't stand up for their children. And then he changed. He had a shocking change where he actually went in and is hopefully going to participate in the prosecution of his defendant predator wife.
This is Detective Osted with the Marion County Sheriff's Office to speak with Frank David Yates III at witness.
Trying to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. When I got a call from you earlier, obviously I was happy, but I just have to verify a few things before I take a statement from you because I just want to be really clear. Obviously, you know you're not being investigated for a crime. I have no suspicion that you've committed a crime, but where the circumstances involved, you know who's being investigated, and you have, as far as I understand it, and I'm not an attorney, but there's a spousal privilege that says that you don't have to make any statements against them. You can't be compelled to, but should you so choose, you can. I just want to make sure that, you deciding to make a statement isn't something that you're feeling like anyone has forced you to do, or like it's something you have to do.
No, I don't feel like that at all.
Okay. Is it something you want to do?
Yes.
Okay. Just by nature of what we're talking about, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So when I ask questions, I don't want you to feel like anything I'm asking you is trying to be belittling towards anybody. Though I might ask weird questions, it's probably because there's been something brought up, and I'm trying to kind of corroborate that. So with that being said, I might ask to get into the nitty-gritty. I might ask to talk about uncomfortable things. Obviously, by nature of this investigation, the whole thing is uncomfortable. My job is to deal with incredibly uncomfortable situations. And then ultimately people much smarter than me, much smarter than you, they're the ones who make the final decision on what happens with everything, right? But, so what is it that you'd like to tell me today? Well, I guess before we get into that, may I swear you in on what you're going to say to me?
Sure.
Okay. So if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear that the statement that you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Okay. Thank you, sir. What would you like to tell me today?
Yeah, I just want to tell the truth, I guess, about what had happened.
It's really all we can do.
Yeah. So basically, that night that I came home, I could get into quite a bit of detail about everything, but
That would be helpful, but I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to.
right. So basically, my son had been not a part of my life for quite a while. When he did get into my life, he was probably around 11 years old. I had tried my best to help him in any way I could, and kind of be a dad as much as I could, considering what had happened, before. But one thing I wanted to point out was, before this had happened, she had a very negative attitude towards him. Basically didn't want him to be here. When we would talk about him coming down, it was, can he be here for a week? Can he be here for 2 weeks? Not 3 weeks or a month, or not for the whole summer, of course. That was like off the table once. And then, so he was here for, I think, about 3 weeks. He was supposed to go home. She was basically wanting him to stay another week longer, which I thought was very odd. There was a lot of things that I thought that was very odd in that last week, as far as all of a sudden how she flipped a switch to like how she viewed him and what was going on. I had an uncomfortable feeling in my gut about it. So did other people.
Just because of the negativity towards him.
Right, and then all of a sudden it's okay. Well, I think he should stay another week. That's why he was there that last week, was basically because she wanted him to stay another week, which was completely opposite of how she had been acting previously. And then on top of that, she started talking about him moving down here, which completely blew my mind. I was like, what are you talking about? We don't have room for another kid here. Now, it wasn't a month ago you didn't want to come here at all, and now you wanted to potentially move here. Just saying odd things like, if you go to high school here, you'll get so many girls, and you're so good looking, and all this stuff like that. There was just a lot of different things that gave me like bad gut feelings.
Yeah, that's. I hadn't heard any of that. That's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then basically, I could say that when I came home and I saw what I saw, I wasn't as shocked as you would think that I would be. And I guess basically because of her flip-flopping her attitude on him, and especially saying stuff about him like moving down here, some inappropriate comments that I had heard her say around him.
Just beyond that he's good looking and he'll get all the girls, or was that pretty much it?
Yeah, no, it was, I guess just kind of being inappropriate, like stuff you want to say around the 15-year-old.
Can you think of an example? It's okay if you can.
She referred to something, I think we may have been watching TV, and something about giving him a boner or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? And, but anyways, I'll get to the night in question. I came home.
Was she, sorry to interrupt you, I don't typically want to do that, but were you expected home at that time?
So the night before, I was also working late, and they had all.
Was this post-hurricane or something, or was it just a lot of stuff going on?
A lot of stuff going on.
Okay,
We typically if there's any type of afternoon thunderstorm, you might be working till 2 o'clock in the morning. That's pretty typical. And I was number one on the call-out list that week because I had avoided that while he was there to spend as much time with him as possible. He ended up staying an additional week, so that's when I said, okay, well, he can stay another week, but I'm going to have to be number one on the call-out list, which means the first outage that comes, I'm going to be the first one to be called. So,
Did he ask to stay another week, or she asked for him to stay another week?
it was a combination of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah, and so the night before that, I had been working basically every night for the 3 nights prior to coming home to that. And you know, when you work late, you don't have to be in till 9 hours afterwards, so you're on like rest time, basically.
Yeah.
So the first time that I got a really bad gut feeling was he was staying at my dad's house because I was working so much, spending time with my dad, and I had worked the night before. I came home and I was supposed to sleep till I think like noon. You know, I maybe got off like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be able to, you know, I'd have to go back to work to finish up that shift. And I was sleeping and he walked into the door, and I was just very surprised to see that, because she would never in a million years, like I said, 2 weeks prior, would she load up both of our young kids, drive to my dad's house, and now they're in communication through like text and talk and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never in a million years would she do that, basically. So I immediately, like I said, gut feeling, like I was just like, man, something is not right. Like something's not, you know. And then the next night, he was going to stay there. He had been there with her and the kids all day. I had worked late again. I came home. It was maybe 12:30 at night. The night before this had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen that they were both still awake, which is really odd to me. It's like, you're never up this late. You know, the kids go to sleep early. The night after that was the night that I had worked not quite as late. I think it may have been like 12:30. I had talked to her on the phone. I forget exactly. I basically think she thought I was going to be working later, like the night before.
Okay.
I came in, very quiet. I'm not trying to wake up the young kids. So I go into our garage door, very quietly put the key in, unlock the door, quietly twist the handle. I walk in and I look over to my left, and I see her sitting down. Her boobs are out, she's naked, and he was standing up, basically in a position where it looked like his waist level was at her head level. So I think she was performing oral sex when I walked in the door.
Were you able to see, like, his penis?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
You know, you're not walking in the door like,
Oh, of course.
you know,
Yeah.
so, and then he immediately, what I think has happened is he pulled up his pants. It kind of looked like he pulled up his pants a little bit, and he had jetted off to the bathroom. I go over to her, and I'm immediately like, obviously I see her breasts are out, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I say that probably 20 different times, like, what the fuck is going on? She has this stupid expression on her face, just like a bewildered expression on her face. Doesn't say anything the entire time this is going on. She has a blanket over top of her lap. I go over there and I'm basically like, surely to God she's not naked. And so I walk over to her, still she's not saying anything, bewildered look on her face, and I snatch the blanket off of her lap, and she is butt-ass naked. At that point, I'm like, you know, just shocked. I know basically that something's been going on. So he comes out of the bathroom at this point. We're talking about stuff that's going on. I don't think she was really saying anything. And I said, I don't need you to come outside with me right now. My son, and I'm like, I bring him out there and I'm basically like, please God, like, tell me exactly what's going on, exactly what happened, because I want to know. everything that happened. And he proceeded to tell me that they had both had oral sex on each other. I felt like he was still hiding stuff. At that point, she's kind of coming back and forth outside the house to talk to me. And, you know, I'm obviously not wanting anything to do with her. And then the one thing that, like, struck me the most when this was all happening was she tried to come out there and basically say that it wasn't as bad as it looked, and I looked her right in the eye. I said, "You sucked his dick." And she looked right at me and like said, "Oh, I forgot you knew that." Was exactly what she said. Then I took him to my dad's house, and it's just been a huge ordeal ever since. Which I regret the fact that I didn't just call the cops immediately.
Well, you removed him from the situation. And, I mean, in situations like this, I don't think anybody can ever truly understand the psychological toll and shock factor of what you had witnessed. The most important thing that I see about that is, again, that you removed him from the situation. No matter what those circumstances were, no matter, you know, what arguments were had along the way, he was removed from, you know, access to her. Am I understanding you correctly that her reaction to you, after saying it wasn't as bad as it looked, to you telling her that she gave him oral, was that to basically say that she was trying to calm you down, but also not admit to anything that you didn't know about already? Is that?
Exactly.
Okay.
And word for word, she said, "I forgot we knew about that." It was her. I don't think she knew what she was thinking at the time. I really don't know what was going through her mind.
Did she ever share with you what was going through her mind? Not a conversation you'd really want to have, I get that, but...
No, she tries to act like she had just, you know, lost control and blacked out or didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, you weren't even drinking, first of all. You were stone cold sober. There's so many details leading up to that night. You know, it's just... it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically her attitude and everything that since this has happened, I'm just like, I'm done with trying to, I don't want to say like protect her, but I'm done like with the whole situation. I just wanted to go in it.
Well, and all that should happen, right, is that the truth should come out, and that's what's going to allow everyone to move on. Everyone tells the truth, and then we can move on, right? Whatever that's going to entail, we'll get through that, and then life will continue. Now, did you have further conversations with her about it? Did she admit to anything beyond the oral to you?
No, she did not. I don't believe her at all. Just my gut feeling, like I said again, I think that they had sex. But no, she would never admit that to me.
Did she make any statements to you about why it happened?
Yeah. She said multiple times she's told me how much he looked at me.
Just generally or specifically?
No, what she had told me was that it was kind of dark and that he looked so much like you.
Okay.
Type of thing. I know what she said to the other girls.
Okay, but she never made any comments about his anatomy or anything like that?
No, not to me.
Okay.
Obviously, I had heard what she had told the other girls, had confronted her about that many times, and she basically said which I already knew. She wasn't doing it in like a braggadocious way. She was doing it in a way that was trying to defend her actions and what she did.
Mm-hmm.
The things he was saying, the size of his penis, blah blah blah. You know, like basically like he seemed older and more mature than he was.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did she communicate with you about the situation in any other way other than in person, on the phone, and over Instagram? Did she text you about it?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Because, just to be straightforward with you, it appears that there's a significant amount of messages that are no longer on her phone.
Oh yeah.
From around that time.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of making mention to messages,
Mm-hmm.
and I have quite a bit of messages where she's talking with other people, but the messages between the two of you,
Mm-hmm. Completely damning. If you had those messages, it would be none and over.
it's not something you have to give me, but is that something you would be willing to show me?
I actually only have. I looked not too long ago, actually yesterday. And
You have like an auto delete on old messages or something?
Well, I didn't delete. I deleted messages. These were the last ones.
I mean, even if you deleted them, I could understand how you just not want them on your phone anymore.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
I didn't. No, I had a wealth of messages on my Instagram, which now are there, and my phone. I'm not sure how. I think every 90 days or 120 days they maybe automatically delete. But I mean, you just swipe, right?
to the right, this way? Yeah, okay. Would you be willing to provide me with those messages? Those screenshots? Okay. Is there anything else you're thinking about that would be helpful for me to know?
Yeah, other than my testimony, I guess, and those few messages, I don't think that there's anything else. I don't know if you have any questions.
Nothing that I can think of other than questions related to investigative techniques.
Okay.
For that reason, this continuing recording, reference investigative techniques.
The fact that this father was nothing but a coward and a pathetic loser, a cuck if there ever was one. But finally, after weeks and weeks and months of probably shaming, and probably the fact that his son was saying, you witnessed it, you saw it, how can you say that it didn't happen? How can you continue to lie for a predator? You witnessed, Dad, me being abused, and you're willing to lie through your teeth to further hurt me, to further shame me, to further gaslight me in defense of your wife who sexually abused me. And you're going to go to bat for her. You're going to defend her. And then you'll see Alexis's friend and sister-in-law, Megan, who will do a lengthy interview with police investigators and detectives on what she heard, what she saw, what she witnessed, and she will lay out the case of the female pred complex, this entire network and structure around female predators that goes into overdrive when a woman is very rarely caught in the act of abusing a kid. They're almost never caught, but when they are caught, this is the reason why it's so hard to get justice. It's not just judges, it's not just juries, it's not just police or prosecutors in many cases. It's the community, it's the family, it's the friend, it's the network around victims that victim blame and victim shame male victims into silence, as well as the protective measures that go into place around female predators, where they're not scared when they go to jail. A lot of female predators are laughing and smiling in their mugshots. You will see her brother tell his wife, "Oh, what she told you was in confidence. She basically admitted to molesting a kid, but she told you that in confidence. You shouldn't report that. You shouldn't tell the truth about that. That was told to you in confidence." That's the perspective. This is the engines that roll when we talk about the female pred complex.
But it's better than our...
It's okay.
Our,
No, you're okay.
Anywhere you want to sit, it's fine. Wow.
Freezing.
Yeah, I like it that way, but everyone else does not. I'm just a warm blooded guy.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30? I'm 32.
Ah, there you go. I have the baby face. Everyone thinks I'm younger than I am.
Yeah, that's like the young protector, but that's awesome though.
Yeah, I've been doing this a while.
That's good.
These are kind of cases I look into a lot.
And I'm glad there needs to be someone doing that because there's sick people out there.
Yeah, I'm not like a normal law enforcement officer that you deal with. I have a lot of education in these things. This is, again, something I'm specialized in, but I understand.
Social worker before?
I was not, no. But I understand how complex the situation is, how many moving parts there are.
Are we being recorded now? Did it start?
This room always records.
Oh, okay.
24/7.
All
So
right.
like even the jokes being made down the hall, they seep in here with no reason here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to know, but that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
okay, if you want to not be recorded,
No, I'm fine with
okay.
it. I understand.
The most important part that I just want to talk about is that we only talk about the truth.
Yeah.
I don't want you to tell me if you don't remember something. Don't feel like you need to make something up.
Yeah.
If you aren't sure on something, don't feel like you have to, pretend you're sure. But if you're sure on something, great.
Yeah.
If you remember generalities, that's fine. If you remember specifics, that's fine. If there's a question that makes you uncomfortable, just by nature of the question, and you really don't want to get into it, I understand.
I don't get uncomfortable. I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
We deal with all.
And I talk with people about stuff much crazier than this situation on a daily basis.
Well, shit that she had said to me herself. I mean, I'm okay with just, if you're okay if I just tell you what I know.
Yeah, and we're talking about Alexis on Yates?
Okay, yes, Alexis on Yates. And, but, so when I found out about everything, my husband told me. I was sitting on the couch and he was like, Dave caught Alexis with Tristan. And I looked at him and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I kept waiting for him to say, I'm joking. I was just joking. And that never came. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no way. And Alexis being my sister-in-law, we were very close for 6 years.
That's how long you've been married, 6 years?
I've been married about 3, but I've been with her brother about 6, but it's been serious. But, so I mean, it might sound fucked up, but I picked up the phone and called her and I kind of acted like bestie friends with her because I'm like, I want to find out what happened. Mm-hmm. You sometimes when you play that card, I mean, you're a detective, you play that card of, oh, I'm on your side to kind of see what they say, mm-hmm. And I didn't want to come off too judgmental because I didn't want her to close up. And once again, I know it sounds wrong, but I'm like, what the fuck happened,
Yeah.
Because my husband, he doesn't ever know anything. He doesn't ask questions, which probably good for him. He's not here right now. But either way, so I called her and I just was like, hey, and she's like, hey girl, and I'm like, so what happened? Like, no, she's like, she's saying something about how Dave was working a lot and she's just lonely and how she just, I don't know, she just started going into detail about how it all happened and I don't remember exactly specifically what she said, but she just said it ended up first she said that she just went down on him. She gave him head. And then I started kind of joking, oh, what did you guys, 69 or something? And she's like, oh, well, that kid's ruining my fucking life. That's what she said. Okay. And then I was like, well, how did it get to that point, you guys doing things? And she's like, well, it just kind of happened. He's so cute. He reminds me of a little Dave. And so the attraction's already there. He was like Dave, but younger. And he's got game, and he made me so wet. And it was just so much fun. And his dick was so big. It was like Dave's dick. It was weird. Like, it was weird everything she was saying to me. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm in the phone, like, trying to process this. This is someone you know forever, and they're telling you that they fucked a kid. And then she goes on and says, because Dave and his son and Dave's cousin, they all, like, the genes are strong. They all resemble each other. Yeah. And she made a comment saying that she should have fucked Dave's cousin, because then at least he would have been of age, so it would have been better. That's what she said to me. She said at least it would have been better. She's like, but yeah, this fucking kid's trying to ruin my life and all this shit. And I'm just like, damn, like, that's insane. Yeah. And, like, I ended the phone call, and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck do I do with this information? And my husband's like, well, she told you that in confidence. I said, well, she told me she had sex with a kid, like, in confidence. And by the time I figured everything out, like, it was already reported. Everything was already... So, like, I was just like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, she told you that in confidence. And I'm like, but it's not like she told me... If she told me she fucked a 45-year-old, I would have kept that a secret. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I called Dave immediately, and I was like, she just told me all this shit, and, like, how... and all this stuff. Now, he had game, his dick was so big, and just weird.
How long had it been between when it happened that you're aware of and when you had this conversation?
I think it was several weeks, because my husband found out, I think even like a week before before he told me, because when he told me, he's like, I just couldn't hold it in any longer. I'm like, well, how long have you known? And he's like, oh, about a week. I guess his dad told him, and then he, you know what I mean? And, like, it just was so weird. And then that was the other thing that caused the issue, because then after that, like, after it all sank in, I didn't want to have anything to do with her. And me and her, Mercedes, we were always really good friends, and we were on a group chat together. And she kept texting the group chat. And, like, finally I wrote her separately outside the group chat and said, hey, this is a lot for me to process. Can you please just give me space and give me some time to think about things? Because, once again, I'm not trying to be like, fuck you, bitch, get the fuck out of here, because that's the family situation. That's the only thing.
Did she tell Mercedes?
I don't know what she told Mercedes, but I know that she, like, we were all in a group chat together, and I know that Mercedes knew of it, but I don't know what their conversations had to do with.
Do you talk to Mercedes?
Yeah, I talk to Mercedes. We all had kids, like, at the exact same time. Okay. So, and then now she's pregnant as fuck.
Would it make you feel better to know that I do have an appointment to talk with Mercedes?
I know.
Okay.
She told me, because I called her to tell her I was going to come talk to you, and then...
Because I understand what kind of position this puts you in.
It's weird.
But I appreciate the fact that you know that there's a child who can't really stand up for themselves.
Yeah. Kid gonna try to make a pass on you. He's not. He's a very respectful, you know, he's a teenager. He's gonna have those little teenage quirks, whatever, but he's a respectful kid. He's never been weird to me. He's never, approached me awkwardly.
But let's say he did. As a reasonable person,
I'd say, get the fuck away from me, dude. Get the hell, go in your room.
Well, as a reasonable person, if a 15-year-old and a 33-year-old engaged in consensual sexual activity, whose fault would that be?
The adult. 100%.
And in our society, if the genders were reversed, they look at it much differently.
Yeah. I was shocked they even gave her bail. If that was a man, and then the fact that she's allowed to be around children, she's been up at my kid's school, it makes me sick. Yeah, to know that she can even be up there. And I completely agree, because, like, my father-in-law heard that kid's going, well, what kid doesn't want to fuck his stepmom? I said, but what stepmom fucks her kid though? Especially, like, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Dave and his son's relationship, but they've just recently reunited a couple of years ago. And my thing is, like, that kid's never had guidance. He's never had a father figure. Then he comes down and he's expecting... he needed that guidance. He didn't need her to take advantage of it and take advantage of his hormones. And then what? Now you ruined his whole... He doesn't have the forethought to think about the consequences. She ruined the relationship with him and his dad. She ruined... He's got siblings by her. Like, you ruined that whole relationship.
Yeah. And that's what makes this so hard for Dave, I'm sure.
God, I can't imagine being Dave.
He's got his son with another woman in D.C., and then their 2 children in common.
Yeah.
And this happening between that other son, it's got to be.
It's really messed up. And then when I had texted her that thing, like, hey, just leave me alone, please. Like, don't just give me space, basically. She turned around because, you know, I told Dave about the conversation we had about and that, and the dick was looking, all this weird stuff about how she sucked his dick. I told him all that. I'm not going to keep that from him. It's wrong. And, like, so after I wrote her, said, please leave me alone, give me space, she wrote back a whole paragraph about, I'm a liar, and that I just fucking lie about everything, and that she didn't like what that kid did to her, and the only thing she did wrong was give in to what he was trying to do. And it was just really weird. Like, and so I told her straight up, I said, you're not about to call me a fucking liar. Like, you do this stuff, you ruin your reputation, but I'm not doing all that. You know, like, that's not, I'm not going to be a liar, and you're not going to bring me down with you, basically. Like, you did this shit, leave me alone. And how hard is it to leave someone the fuck alone, you know, when they ask you to?
So, I'd like to show you some messages.
Yeah.
And I've already confirmed that the messages that say from Alexis Von Yates were sent from her phone.
Okay.
I believe they were sent to you.
Mm-hmm.
These are messages that were sent, I think, not via phone. They were sent on Facebook, I think.
Oh, I said, I didn't fuck that kid, you did.
Yes.
That's what I told her.
You can confirm those messages are the ones that you received. There's a few pages. Obviously, you probably don't want to relive the whole thing, go through it.
Well, to be honest with you, like, when she was writing paragraph after paragraph, I wasn't reading it. I was just like, because this is when she freaking, I'm trying to move forward, please let us do that. You're tarnishing my relationship with my husband. That's why I said, I'm not going to suck that kid's dick. Yeah, I sent that to her. Go fuck yourself. Because, like, she called me.
Did she ever deny when you told her that she had sucked his dick?
I don't know what she said.
Because her response to that says that you were getting the facts. Let me see.
I might have it in here.
You're a poor historian. You have just all of the facts fucked up.
I don't think I even read that.
And then she goes into the fact, she's saying she didn't call you a liar.
She did.
But she's just saying you have the facts fucked up.
She told me that on the phone, and that, like, she told me what happened on the phone, and that's why she was mad that I told Dave. She was basically saying that she told me that in confidence, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but you don't tell me that in confidence. That's fucking wrong. Like, and Dave deserved to know, because Dave's a great guy, and he's always been good to her, and she treats him like shit, and then she's gonna go and do this. Like, it's just absolutely terrible. And then her dad kept. This was nothing. Her freaking dad would kept texting me, telling me that I'm ruining the family, and I did that. And he'd be like, "That kid's walking around waving his dick around, and what do you expect?" I said, "What the fuck?" I said, "Don't ever text me about a kid's dick ever, ever, ever again." And I fucking blocked his ass because I said, "I'm not dealing with that."
That's reasonable.
It is, and I even told him, I said, "You know what? I can't understand what you're going through. That's your kid. This is probably weird for you." I said, "But until all this is over," I said, "you just need to stay away from me because he's way too emotional." Now, I'm surprised you haven't seen messages from him in there. Because
have you seen my report?
The 7-page letter, the one that's online, that the kid wrote. Are you talking about? I've looked it up on the Civite court thing. Like, the details of everything that happened. I read that.
Okay, you read, like, my probable cause affidavit?
I guess that's what it is. It was the interview with the kid and him telling everything that happened and all that. Is that what you mean?
I don't think that generally that should be a matter of public. Was it like there was stuff removed out of it, like names?
No, I haven't. I don't. Part of me has always wanted to, like, reach out to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it being the situation I am, God forbid, I'll reach out to him, and then my husband's like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's a tough situation.
It is. It makes me sick.
Pulls at your heartstrings for sure.
It does, because that kid deserves someone to fucking stand up for him. And then from what I freaking, like, her saying stuff like, "Oh, that fucking kid ruined my life. He ruined my fucking life," and this and that. Like, no, like, you ruined his life, if anything. Like, because he's going to be psychologically fucked up from this, and then you're going to take him to court and call him a liar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How traumatizing for this kid. Never fucking had his dad, then you fucking ruined that relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just pulling it up.
No, that's okay.
But, it's just so wrong for me. And then the fact she just walks around like she did nothing wrong. Like, it bothers me, you know? Like,
yeah. Did she ever tell you she told anybody else about this? Obviously, it sounds like, you know, her dad.
I guess her dad fucking knows. But I don't know who else she talked to about it. But I know what she told me, and her saying that it was like he was like a little date, so the attraction was already. It was just weird. See, like when you pull it up on the Subic court and you click on her name, and you go over here.
The arrest affidavit.
And you
yes.
click that.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. That is.
Okay.
Right. That doesn't have everything in it, but that does have a lot.
I don't know if from like, you know, like, whoo, I had too much, dude. But that kid's not. He's not. I don't think he's lying about anything because she told me the same stuff basically. I mean, she left out the whipped cream part, but it was weird. And the comment about I should have had sex with his cousin because at least he'd be of age.
Did she make that like over the phone or was
over
it
the
over text?
phone? It was a phone call.
There was something else I was hoping to ask you for.
Yeah.
There appears to be a lack of messages in the time of the incident and like a month or two afterwards. I don't have any text messages between the two of you on her phone. Do you have text messages between the two of you? I don't have any text messages between her and her husband around the time either.
Well, this was the thing where I was like, I just wanted to message you and tell you to leave me alone. This is what she said back, and you can read that if you want to. We were to go right there.
Okay.
That was like around the time it happened. I think that's the one that you might have. No, you had the Facebook. But this is what started it. Her messaged me on Facebook because I blocked her number. I told her she's fucking gross, and then she even says in there like, what that kid did to me, all I did was give in to him or something weird. Like kind of insinuating that he raped her, which is disgusting. She works out every day. That kid's a fucking toothpick. He couldn't rape anybody. Disgusting.
She says she's truly disgusted with it here. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so she kind of like half-ass sideways admits it. And that's when I got mad. And I screenshotted that shit today. I said, look at her fucking trying to lie, you know?
Do you mind if I got a screen capture of these messages?
I don't mind at all.
Starting around the time of July 22nd and going till present? Is that okay?
I guess so. I don't know what else is in there, but
okay.
You can go ahead and read it. I don't give a shit. I think at one point when I first didn't believe it, I had went to page and like screenshotted something and I was like, do you think this is about you? You know? Like, but then it like was setting in. I was like, dude, this shit really fucking happened. So I mean that screenshot doesn't look good on my part, but to be honest with you, I was in shock.
Everybody responds initially and then they
Yeah.
You had a conversation with her, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make anybody look any way other than what just the facts and circumstances.
No, I know. I just know that like I just feel like I was in shock, and I feel like I didn't want to believe it. Like I've known her for so long, even if think. But I don't mind if you.
What I'd like to do is I'll click on her contact, start the screen recording to show who you're speaking with, and then I'll go back and I'll just scroll down, and we'll just take one screen record video of it,
That's okay.
and then I'll have you airdrop it.
Whatever you want to do. I have screen record on my phone.
Is it on here?
It should be.
Anyway, very interesting.
It is so weird. And just like, honestly, her whole attitude about the whole thing, like, I didn't do anything wrong. It was so fucking weird. The whole thing. And then her parents were asking Dave to please be there. Now her dad was like, please be there for her, Dave. She's going through a lot. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and she kept, this is the messages where she kept calling me over and over, and I said, I just don't want to deal with it, because it's caused so many problems between me and my husband. It really has. And then her dad's like, well, if you had a 15-year-old girl at the house, wouldn't you expect Carl to fuck her? Talking about my husband. And I said, no. I would never expect my husband to fuck a kid. You fucking psycho. And I said, then if fucking he ever did, I'd call the fucking police and beat his ass. Like, it's weird. Like, the comments I've been getting from... The hell no.
Do you think she'd talk to you if you called her?
No. No, that bitch hates me. she hates me.
I figured that from the ending of the messages where
Yeah.
she says, well, we won't read it, but you remember.
No, well, the Facebook one, yeah. It's so weird. Okay, I recorded it and then I'll save it. So weird.
I'll turn on my ear.
Yeah, she hates me. Which, whatever, you know, she's grasping at straws. She's got to do what she's got to fucking do, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's just, I would never be in that situation, so I couldn't even imagine. I'm surprised y'all didn't see shit from her. Her dad was texting me over and over about that kid's dick, and he's waving his dick around, and what do you expect? I said, you know what? I would expect her to be like, go put your pants on. First of all, I don't think that's how it happened. Like I said, the kids are respectful, but sorry, a kid whips out his wiener around me. I'm not gonna.
He texted you that?
He texted me like he had his dick out and this and that. I don't have it on my phone, but I just have a screenshot of it on my iPad at the house. To be honest with you.
If you're okay sending that to me, I
Yeah,
would like that.
but it has his name at the top. It doesn't have his number.
That's okay. I can
Okay.
live with that.
And as long as my husband ain't going to fucking delete, I don't think he would, but
Yeah.
he doesn't go through my shit. But yeah, I screenshotted
Well,
that.
this is tremendously helpful, and
Yeah, because that's like her sideways admitting it, to be honest with you. But
I mean,
yeah, she's like, all I did was what that kid did to me, and it's like, okay, well, that's different than you telling me on the phone, like, that you liked it, and that y'all did stuff. But all she told me on the phone was that she went down on him, but then when I kind of insinuated, like, about the 69 thing, she didn't say no. She just changed the subject. Just trying to live my fucking life.
yeah.
So that's all I know is like what she told me, and then just her freaking dad texted me all that weird shit. I think he had a mental breakdown though over it, because I couldn't imagine if it was my kid. Like, I even told him that. I was like, Dennis, like, this is your daughter, whatever. I said, but stop fucking texting me, because not everyone's gonna view it the same way as you, because it's not my kid. And it's not, like, she's not my daughter. I think it's disgusting. It makes me want to vomit. Like, you're a grown woman. She's not a bad looking woman. I said, why don't you go to the bar?
Yeah.
Have sex with a grown up. You know? It's weird, but.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate you meeting with me. I'm not going to drag you out and make you keep talking about it.
No,
I don't think there's really anything else for us to talk about, unless there's something you're thinking of that would be helpful for me to
If
know.
I think of anything else, I'll call you.
Okay. Yeah, my number.
And if I have that screenshot still on my iPad, I'll send it to you.
That would be
I
great.
can text that number, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I called you from my desk. The one on the back of the card.
And even like my husband, I was like, because I was at the mall, I was like, send me his number. He's like, well, what are you going to say to him? I said, Carl, I said, this ain't got shit to do with you. I said, give me his fucking number now. I said, at the end of the day, I'm not getting in trouble, and I'm not lying to no one, and I'm not keeping any secrets from anyone, like, to cover her ass. Like, my only thing is, I was just worried about the family, and I was worried about, like, just getting her for not saying it, but I didn't know what to do. I've never been in a situation.
Well, it could get to the point where people will be compelled for testimony. That's always a possibility.
I know.
And then if they lie, or if other people try to intimidate other people into not telling the truth, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Almost the same level of crime as what's being investigated.
Yeah.
So
Well, his dad just made me feel uncomfortable. He's like, you're a fucking bitch for not forgiving her and like all this shit, and I hope one day something bad happens to you, and then I won't be here for you. And I'm like, he said, you're gonna make a mistake too one day. And I'm like, it's not a mistake. Like, she had sex with a kid. It's not a mistake.
yeah, I think there's different levels of doing something wrong, right?
There is.
So like letting a check bounce, right? It's not ideal. It's not good. It's not
Yeah.
morally and ethically okay. But I mean, it can happen. People can forget how much money is in their bank account. But something like this is a little different.
She could have accidentally murdered someone, and I would have still probably talked to her and be like, damn, that sucks. You know what I mean? But this is, I don't cross that line.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, whatever. But if I find anything else or hear anything, I'll let you know. If I have that screenshot, I'll let you know.
Well, if I could say anything to you to help you feel better, I think the most important thing to keep in mind that a good gauge of what type of person someone is, or what type of society we have, is how that person or society treats people who can't defend themselves.
I agree. And as a nurse, when you're trained to take care of vulnerable people, and you're trained on the different like developmental levels in your brain and what you can process and risk take. You know all that.
Yeah.
And you work around vulnerable populations, and you're going to take advantage of this kid. And regardless of her being like, oh, well, he did this to me. No, that kid ain't going to just do something. She was grooming. She was making him comfortable enough to make this happen. Because I'll tell you what, I don't know if you have the opportunity. Very humble little kid. He comes over my house, can I help you with anything? Hangs out with my kids. Never, ever with that. It's just weird, but can I answer anything else for you?
Well, the last thing I'd like to ask is kind of weird, but are you okay if I swear you in on the stuff
What's
you
that
said?
mean?
It just means that you'd be swearing that this is the truth.
Oh, it's the truth.
Okay,
Swear
so
me in.
you just hold your arm.
Which one?
Right
This
arm
one
up.
here?
Yep,
Okay.
and say, I'll just ask you, do you swear that the information you've provided in your statement is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I want.
100%.
I want nothing but just the truth.
And it feels good to get it off of my chest. It's been like an elephant. Like, I can't even tell you how bad I felt because that kid does not deserve anything like this.
Yeah, and I think everybody involved, no unreasonable person could disagree with the fact that the truth should be what comes out, and the truth is what should be revealed, and all the evidence is looking very much one specific direction. So I appreciate you helping me.
She's a predator. I can't believe they didn't give her bail. It's sick.
It's and I can't necessarily comment on people's decision to give those things.
If it was a man, she'd still be in there.
And everybody is entitled to bond. So it's.
I just think if it was a guy, imagine he'd be sitting there.
Yeah,
his ass be sitting there. If this was a 15-year-old, just turned 15-year-old, with a 32, 35-year-old person.
We see a lot in our society where people don't view young boys, the same way they view young girls. But
it's probably even worse because they're fully driven by hormones and they don't have any. They can't see past that. So
their brain is not developed as well.
Exactly.
They experience trauma just like young girls do.
This poor kid, dude.
So he deserves to have people.
And I told Dave, I said, you know what? I've been on your side 100%. I said, I hope that, because I could understand him being conflicted with all his feelings. I said, I just hope one day you guys work through this because at the end of the day, that's your son. And you need to be there for him.
Is it all a joke for people? For the trolls online? For the incel men that haven't been laid in decades, yet they're there on a keyboard online saying, where were these teachers when I was young? Where were these women when I was young? What do you mean? They're here today. They just don't want to have sex with you. You're not a kid. You don't got game. As in this case, little Dave was better than Dave. He got game. And while you continue to pay for drinks, while you continue to go to Hustler University, while you continue to get advice from the likes of Andrew Tate, these women are out there molesting boys. And boy, are they glad that you're there, though. You got their back. You paid for their drinks. You paid for these female preds drinks. And then when it comes to punishing for their crimes, when they turned you down at the bar to go molest a kid, you paid for her drink, you drove her home, you did all these things for this female predator. She goes in, molests her stepson instead of having sex with you, and then the next day when she's caught, you're right there advocating for her. You're right there defending her. You're right there laughing about the situation. The biggest indictment of all for the female pred complex is the many, many, many men that go online and glorify this behavior. It's not really women that do this. And in this case, a woman did do a better job. Her friend wasn't putting up with it. No, I'm not. If you would have slept with anyone else, Alexis, I would have kept it a secret. But in this case, you had sex with a kid. And I'm not a part of that. You're a weirdo. You're a creep. And good for the friend who is a strong woman to come forward and say what's right is right and what's truth is truth. And this kid, this boy, this victim was a good kid, very respectful kid. He didn't deserve to have a cowardly father. He didn't deserve to have a stepmom who was a pedophile. And this victim had 100% credibility. There was actually a witness to the crime. And even in that case, when there was someone witnessing a female predator abusing a male victim, even in the case where someone actually witnessed the crime, the sexual abuse in real time, You had a witness willing to lie, and willing to give false statements to further victimize the victim. And in this case, it was his own son.